Good evening, everybody. So tonight on Back Your Girl with AC's Pizza, we have a very special guest, Ashleigh Nelson, 3 times Olympian. He's going to be joining us and answering all those spicy Olympic Games questions. So if you guys have any questions, drop your questions for this beauty of a track and field queen. She is the sprint queen from Britain, 100 and 200 meter Ashleigh Nelson. She loves training in Stellenbosch. We always see her training up in Stellenbosch for pre-season. So we're going to chat to her. She's a 3-time Olympian. She's been to Beijing 2008, Rio 2016, and recently Tokyo this year. So we're going to find out all about her experience at the Olympic Games, as well as what does she love about South Africa? Why train in Stellenbosch? You know, all that jazz. So just getting Ashleigh's request. Hello, girl. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you for making the time to chat to us in South Africa.
No worries. I love South Africa.
So, South Africa loves you. But just for all the viewers watching, this is Ashleigh Nelson, a British sprint queen. She's a 3-time Olympian. She's been to Beijing 2018, as well as Rio 2016, and recently Tokyo, which was a very interesting experience, but we'll get to that. She is also a silver medalist at the 2019 World Champs for the 4x100 meter relay, a bronze medalist 2013 4x100 meter for the World Champs, European Champs, bronze medalist as well for the relay, World Junior Champs, silver medalist in the 100 meter. And I think I met you at the World Youth Champs in Ostrava, and that's where you won the bronze medalist in the 100 meter. Welcome, girl. Gosh, that is a freaking. Wait, let me get that louder. That deserves it again. So welcome to Back Your Girl with Alyssa Conley. So on this episode, we just want to inspire young females out there, to continue their dreams in track and field. In South Africa, we don't have a lot of track and field women. They don't see the future in track and field. So on the show, we just try and inspire them, try and motivate them, try to get them to keep training and, to reach for their goals. So thank you for being on the show. And I hope that your story can help us achieve that purpose tonight.
Yeah, me too. I hope I can inspire anybody. I mean, just one person, it would be worth it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Lots of pressure. It's so weird. I'm in South Africa, which is usually hot and sunny, and I've got the beanie on and the long top, and you in Britain, which is usually cold, right? And are you in Britain right now, or are you still in the quest of the European season?
No, I am at home in London. It's pretty humid here at the moment. Global warming is real. I do not know what's going on in the world right now, but it's kind of warm. It's not warm by South Africa's standards by all means, but it's all right. It's all right. It looks like it's going to rain though, to be fair.
Oh my gosh, but let's start from the start. How did you get involved in track and field? What motivated you? Who were your role models? Where did all of this start?
So I have an older brother. He's 3 years older than me, Alex, and he started athletics when he was about 12, and I always wanted to join. I always wanted to go down, but my mum made me wait till I was like 12, 13 years old. And yeah, it kind of started from there. My brother, we both went to the Beijing Olympics together. He ran 20.4, so he was good. Like, he was real good. Yeah. I always say he was more talented than me. I just had to work a lot harder, but that was the same across like sports, school. He was one of those guys that he'd have an exam and he wouldn't need to study. He would just go in and ace it, and there'd be me like studying like really, really hard, and I'd still only get like a B or a C. But yeah, he was my inspiration. He still is my inspiration. And he's the main reason why I'm doing track and field today.
That's amazing. I've got an older sister, and she's also my role model, and always look up to her. And it was the same thing. There was a time in varsity where I literally just stole her assignments and I just handed it in. I'm like, there we go. I need these marks, man. No, but that's awesome. So tell us, like, you're a 3-time Olympian, completely different experiences, especially this year. Like, I know that, I read a few articles on your crazy experience at the Tokyo Games. what was the difference between, you know, your first Olympic Games, and then Rio, and then Tokyo this year?
So my first Olympic Games, I was 17, and
Mm.
I was just like, I'd came straight from the World Juniors, and then I'd gone to the Olympics. So I was just a bit like, oh, it's just another competition.
Mm.
Little did I know it was not just another competition. Beijing was the era of like Bolt, where he came through. I remember watching him in the stadium. I think in China there was like 90,000 people in the stadium, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is incredible. And that's what really gave me the buzz. And then from there, I
Mhm.
was just like, yeah, I want to go to Beijing. I want to go to the London Olympics. I want to go to whatever the next Olympics is, because we didn't know that was Rio then. And I thought it would be that simple. And
Mhm.
then I realized how elite sport is. Like nothing is simple, nothing is straightforward. So unfortunately, I missed
Mhm.
out on London, which was a home games. Although I
Yeah.
actually won the British trials that year, I just wasn't fast enough. And
Yeah.
sometimes that's literally all it is. You're just not good enough,
Mhm.
and that really
Mhm.
hurts. But you find a way to pick yourself up again. And then I went on to Rio, which was kind of a different games, especially having been to China. China was organized.
Mhm.
Everything was like really smooth and high quality. And unfortunately, Rio just wasn't the same. For whatever reasons, I think there's a lot of corruption. I'm not quite sure the ins and outs, but it was a very different games. I think I was
Mhm.
told one ticket for the athletics was the equivalent of a month's wages. So when people were
Damn.
complaining about the stadium being empty, it's like, yeah, because people can't afford to come, which I think is so sad, because sports should
Mhm.
be made accessible for everyone. It should be inclusive.
Mhm.
And the thing is, the seats were empty, so it just went to waste. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, someone else will pay for this. It's like, no, the stadiums were empty. So that was
Yeah.
really sad. And then obviously, fast forward 5 years, not 4 years. Tokyo, the stadiums were empty again, but that was for a whole different reason, and a reason that
Yeah.
none of us saw coming. Like,
Mhm.
who knew that COVID was a thing, who knew it was going to appear. But that was a very
Yeah.
different games, especially for me, because I ended up in isolation. I landed in Tokyo day two. A few others got told we had to isolate. We were in isolation for 14 days, and then we
That's
literally went
crazy.
straight to the village. We were able to
Mhm.
train, but it just wasn't. It just wasn't the same. Just wasn't the same
Yeah.
experience. Everybody was quite isolated anyway. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but yeah, it was a very different experience, but another life changing experience nonetheless.
I mean, it kind of feels like an anticlimax. Like we wait for this, you know, major competition to come every 4 years, and obviously there's disappointments, and now it's announced that it will be the next year, and it comes, and you're like, did Olympic Games just happen? Like just a flash before my eyes, and I don't even know. I mean, amazing performances, you know, amazing results for the athletes, and a lot of world records, a lot of fast times, a lot of Olympic records, but still, it just feels so surreal. Like, did this year actually happen? It's so crazy. But how did being affected by COVID affect your position within the Britain team, especially the 4x100?
Yeah, so first of all, COVID. I actually had COVID the year before, so I had it in 2020. I keep thinking this year is 2020 because of the Olympics,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
not.
yeah.
It's 2021.
Exactly.
So I had it in 2020, and that really affect. I didn't have a 2020 season at all because I just wasn't well
Hmm.
enough to compete. And then coming back this year, I missed quite a few of the training sessions within the relay because of just injuries that I think I had really sore Achilles, which I think came from originally training on the grass when we couldn't
Hmm.
have access to the tracks. So
Hmm.
everything had like a kind of follow-on effect. So I struggled with that a little bit, but I think in terms of being isolated at the Olympics, I don't think that had anything to do with me not being selected to compete. I
Hmm.
think the fact that the other girls that did compete had been in individual races. That always
Hmm.
plays a part. But yeah, I was upset. I was gutted. I thought I might get a run at least in the heat, but
Yeah.
it didn't happen. And I go back to what I said before. Like sometimes you have to accept that by somebody else's standards, you're just not good enough. Like you just
Yeah.
don't get put in the team, and it hurts. And
Hmm.
it'll either make you or break you. Like it's definitely given me fuel for the fire. I'm not saying that I'm going to go to Paris, but I am saying next year it's definitely give me fuel for the next 12 months, and then we'll reassess. As you know, at the end of every season, you reassess. You look at what you could do better. You look at things that actually you might not be able to do better because you gave it your all, and then you just go again. So, yeah, I think COVID affected everybody. I think there were some spectacular performances, and then I think there were some just really bottom average performances. I feel like there wasn't much in between. It was like either really good or quite disappointing. And I was on the disappointing end of it, unfortunately. So I hope to change that in the future.
I mean, as an athlete, it boils down to it is what it is. You have to face the situation that's in front of you. And like you said, it can either break you or it can make you stronger and keep you motivated, to achieve better in the future. So what is the rest of your plans for this season as well as next season? We know next season is loaded. We know there's World Champs, there's Commonwealth Games. I don't know what else you have up your sleeve. So tell us about it.
Yeah, so for this season, I've got a few races left. Just kind of low-key races in and around the UK. I think I'm going to the Lausanne Diamond League to run like a relay with the girls. So that'll be good to run a relay, because it's always nice to be part of a team. But yeah, I think it's just going to be low-key meets in the UK, and then go in off-season and then come back ready for next year, because like you said, it's the Worlds, Commonwealths, European Championships. So there's going to be a lot going on. It's going to be insane. So it's very important to make sure that I have a good kind of rest, because we all need a good rest before we get ready for battle again. Because winter training here has a whole different meaning to winter training in South Africa. When I came to South Africa, the only time I've ever been, in 2020 in January. The first day I got sunstroke, because I just didn't realize how hot I knew it was hot, but I was like, this sun hits the South African sun hits differently. Like, wow, me and my training
partner. Not for the faint-hearted.
No, we all got sunstroke. But winter training here is brutal. Like, it's hard. Like, it's cold, it snows, it's everything. It's just the worst bit about my track and field life, to be fair. But I'll get ready for winter to come out in the summer where we can enjoy a bit of sun, and maybe I'll be able to get back to South Africa at some point. Who knows? Hopefully COVID disappears.
Exactly, just vanishes off the face of the earth. But I mean, you're speaking about heat. How hot was it in Tokyo? What are the conditions like? Because I saw a lot of people like complaining and going crazy about the heat. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it was really, really hot. I think it was like, I think it was maybe like 30, anything from 30 to 35 degrees, I think. And then, but the humidity, it was like, on some days it was like 80% humidity, which just, first of all, you can't breathe. Second of all, if you've got hair, it just makes you super hot. My hair was just like, it's like up here. The conditions to kind of breathe and perform, because by the time you did your warm-up and then got onto the, like, apparently it was really hot, the warm-up track, but then inside the track apparently it was quite cold, so it was kind of like, I think it was confusing people a little bit. So it was tough conditions, but it's kind of to be expected. I didn't realize Japan was that hot, but it's to be expected, really. You just have to, as a professional athlete, you just have to get your electrolytes, get your water, get your cap, and just get on with it.
Yeah, no, true story. So Ashleigh, in South Africa, we're celebrating Women's Month in the month of August. And, we battle topics, or we speak about topics such as inequality, not only in sport, but in the workplace, and just like women empowerment and all of that. So tell us, do you also, in the UK, do you face a lot of inequality within sports? Do you still have a massive gap between the men and the women?
Do you know what? I think the gap, especially over here, is changing. There definitely is. There is a difference, I think, in pay and things like that. But I do think it is closing. I don't think it is as bad here as maybe in different parts of the world, or as it used to be. I definitely think it's more so how women are treated, just in general. It's a tough topic, isn't it? I mean, I understand like why people should speak about it. And men and women should be treated equally, because I may be a bit biased, but women are definitely the fairer sex. So But no,
100% correct.
on a serious note, everybody, whether you're male, female, black, white, whatever, like you should be treated. Everybody should be treated as one, because we're all equal at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I mean, specifically in sport, how do you think you guys have, bridged that gap, or how are you closing that gap? Because, I mean, in South Africa, we're trying, and we're trying to speak about it. We're trying to figure out ways to close the gap and to bridge the gap, and we're just trying to see how different countries are dealing with it.
It's definitely performance. I feel like
Mm.
for a number of years, women, we would kind of like perform equally as well as the men, but we still wouldn't get the credit for it. But
Yeah.
now we are definitely, especially in track and field, we are outshining the men. I mean, the majority of
Mm.
medals won by Team GB's track team was from women. I think there was 374 athletes on Team
Hmm.
GB as a whole, and 200 of them were women. So they said it was
Hmm.
the first time in, I can't remember how many years, but it was the first time in maybe 40 years or something like that, that they had more women than men. And if that doesn't speak volumes, then
Hmm.
I don't know what to say. But I definitely think that women are feeling more included and more kind of rewarded, because at the end of the day,
Hmm.
like, we all want to be rewarded for what we do, and not
Yeah.
necessarily like financial, but even just like someone saying, you know what, well done, like you did
Mm.
that, like you are
Yeah.
great, and just being told that you are great for your sport. But I think definitely from our governing bodies, they are definitely trying to be more inclusive. Even
Hmm.
the Euro football was on not that long ago, and the pundits were, there was a lot of female pundits, and they're trying to be
Hmm.
inclusive, and get women's opinions out there, and that maybe seeing a woman commentating on football or athletics or whatever might make a little girl think, oh, actually, like, I
Yeah.
feel safe in this space, like this is a safe
Hmm.
space for me, this is something that I want to do. And that way it just keeps generating more women and young women in sport, because the drop off rate for young women in sport is very
Insane.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's very important for like women, especially like yourself, who's achieved so much in sport, to like continue to share your story, so ladies can see that there is a future in sport. There is, there's a reason why we work hard. There's a reason why we don't give up. There's a reason, that you wake up every day and train to become an Olympian, to be a three-time Olympian. And I think one of the perceptions in South Africa and maybe in Africa at large is that just being an Olympian is not good enough. You have to medal, so there's no value behind the statement in calling yourself an Olympian. And I don't know if you guys have the same issue over there, but it's really harsh out here.
So I was very disappointed not to be included in the team and to come away with a medal, because for me, I just feel like I'm at a stage in my career where I want a
Mm.
medal. And then I came home and I was disappointed, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore because I work so hard and I never get anything to show for
Yeah.
it. And a lot of my friends and family were like, Ash, like, you've just added another Olympic, like, you're added another Olympic title to your name. You're a three-time Olympian. And on
Mm.
reflection, like, I had to sit back and really check myself and be like,
Mm.
you are actually very good at what you do. And so for what you're saying, I totally understand. But being an Olympian, like, I think it's like 1% or 2% of the planet are Olympians. And it's like,
Yeah.
let alone having a medal, put that aside, like, you have done something that very, very few people will do
Hmm.
ever, let alone like
Yeah.
maybe doing it multiple times.
Hmm.
So I do think that needs to change. I
Hmm.
understand medals are currency, like, I get that. But just being an Olympian alone and competing for your country and being on that world scale at a multi-sport competition is,
Hmm.
it's actually something that's extremely special. And yeah, people
Yeah.
need to get more kind of kudos for that.
No, definitely. I agree with you. What is your hardest challenge throughout your career so far?
What is my hardest
Many.
challenge? Ooh, you put me on the spot there. I think it's just the injuries that I've had. Like, over the between 2015 and 2017, I had like three major surgeries on my hip
Hmm.
and other areas. And getting told that I might not be able to sprint again at a high level was like, it was like, it's like, we have to do this so that you can run again. But if we do this, you might not be able to sprint again. So it was like, what decision do you make? Like, of course, for my day-to-day life, I want to be able to like walk around and, you know, exercise. So I had to do it. But to know that I might not ever get back to where I was like, that was really, really scary. And then actually doing all the rehab and stuff, I think that was probably the most challenging bit, getting on the start line the season afterwards and just not knowing, you know what it's like, you know what you do in training, but
what's going to happen?
Sometimes you just don't know what's going to happen. And it's like, that when you're someone who trains and works out all the time and you know your body inside out, for you to be in limbo and actually for a moment not know what's going to happen, it's actually very, very scary. And I think for me, that was kind of, the injuries are definitely the most challenging bits, because sometimes it's almost like it's out of your hands. And obviously nobody ever chooses to get injured, so it's hard. It's hard being injured, especially when you then have to sit at home or sit back and watch your peers compete. It's where you want to be.
What goes through your mind, you know, after that phase of injury rehabilitation, and now it's your first race? And, you know, obviously you're doubting, can I still run? Will my body be able to get me through? Will I make it past the finish line? A lot of athletes have that mental block when they're coming from injury or trying to make a comeback from injury. What was going through your mind and how did you get over it?
I think I owe a lot to the people around me. Just telling me like, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay, you've done this in training, so you can do this in a race. Like, I try and keep my thinking logical and process driven rather than outcome driven, because like if you always think about the outcome, like I want to win or I want to do this, like you can kind of get distracted. So I think sometimes it's literally as simple as thinking, I've got to put one foot in front of the other. When the gun goes, I've got to go, and then I've just got to put one foot in front of the other, and then we'll deal with whatever happens at the end. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it was very much so of be logical, because I think sometimes I can be very, like, sometimes things like injury is very irrational. It just happens and it's like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Panic. Whereas when you just try and keep a calm head and stay logical, that keeps me all right.
That's perfect. Share your most memorable race or medal that you've ever won and achieved.
So in 2014, I won a bronze medal at the European Championships. And I remember the season going into it, I was selected to run the 100 metres at the Commonwealth Games, and I turned it down because I was having a few injury problems, like around my pelvis. Being a woman, you know, when you have your cycle and stuff, which is another thing that I guess doesn't really get spoken about. Everything quite lax and it just doesn't hold me together, especially as a sprinter. You need that support around your hips, and I was having a lot of problems with that. So I pulled out of the Commonwealth Games, and a lot of people were saying, oh, you've made a massive mistake, you're never gonna get a chance to win a medal on a world, like on a world stage, kind of like Commonwealth, like at the Games ever again, like you've missed your opportunity. So I was there and I competed in the relay and we got a bronze medal at the Commonwealths. And then I was also selected for the Europeans. And by that time, I knew that I would have had enough time for everything to settle around my pelvis. But nobody else knew this apart from me and my coach. So I went to the Europeans. I think I was ranked like 16th or something. I went into the first round, ran 11:19, so I ran a PB. And then went into the second round. And then I'm not quite sure what time I ran, but I remember it was just raining, and I was like, okay, well, this is like home, so I'll just get on with it, like, let's go. And then in the final I actually came third, and I got my medal, and I was the first British female to do that in 40 years. So, and I think that was a bit of a turning point for me in my career, and also I think for the girls as a whole in GB, because like the year after that, like Dina came out firing, Ashleigh, like everybody started to do really well. And actually Desiree Henry was also in that final. And yeah, like for me, I remember crossing the line and I knew instantly. Like sometimes you don't know where you are, but I knew the line, and I knew I'd crossed the line. I knew I was third, and I was smiling so hard. And I bet everybody thought, "What's she smiling about? She came third." And I was just like, "I don't care," because if you knew
That's my
what
medal.
it took, if you knew what it took for me to be there, the people had told me, "You're not going to do anything. You're not going to do that." They didn't pay for my coach to come out because I was ranked 16th. And like if if you're not a medal contender, they don't, like the federation, they don't like support you, whatever. And I crossed the line and I just knew, and I was smiling, and then I was crying, and then I was smiling again, and it was a whole mess. There's a whole lot of snot and tears going on. It's not pretty. But yeah, that was definitely the most memorable memory. Yeah, because it just meant so much. And since then there has been other things that have meant a lot. Even like in 2019, like getting that silver medal with the relay girls. It's the first time I've done a relay properly in quite a while, and I was running the third leg, which was a new leg for me. It was like the second time I'd ever done it. The first time I did it was at World Relays, and that didn't go well. And then literally the next time I did it was at the World Champs. Talk about no pressure. And we got it done, and it was a wicked performance by us all. So that was also very memorable.
That's amazing. Just thinking about it, there's nothing beats that feeling when you cross the finish line and you know you're going to be on that podium, or you know you've achieved, but people don't believe you can achieve, and it's the best feeling ever. I think that it's very important as well, and I think this is what I see throughout your career, for athletes to have a brand, and to grow their brand and to speak truth through their brand. I know that you have an amazing brand, and you also have you're co-owner of a fitness page. So tell us about it, and give us some tips, especially for girls. How do you build a strong brand? How do you get yourself out there? How do you put yourself out there for brand collaborations and for sponsors to notice you and all of that? What is your strategy, if you have one?
Yeah, so our platform is called The Athlete Method, and our ethos is to educate and empower women in the fitness environment. So you walk into a gym, or you walk to the track, or you walk into, I don't know, any sport like basketball court, and you know that you have not only the kind of fitness or the kind of athletic ability, but you have the knowledge, because I think that is so important. Like if you walk into the gym and you don't know what you're going to do that day, and you do a bit of leg press and you do a bit of like, I don't know, squatting, and you're just all over the place. Whereas if you know what you're going to do and you know why you're doing it, again, it's having a process, and you actually feel so confident. Like sometimes I go into the gym, and if I see guys like doing just silly stuff, I'll just be like, "Oh, can I jump in on a set?" And I'll just like basically just embarrass them.
Show them.
Hey, if you got it, use it. But yeah, like so
exactly.
Our brand is it's to empower women, because why should we feel inferior in a space that we should be able to equally own? Do you know what I mean? Like we shouldn't, because we are strong women. And I'm so happy that it's now, I used to go out with my friends and be like the sporty one or the athletic one. I used to be like, ugh. But now I walk around and I'm like, yeah, this is what I look like. This is me.
I got guns.
If you don't like it, then there's the door. That sounds like a you problem. And I think it's so important for women to just feel comfortable in their bodies, wherever they are, whether they look like me, whether they look like you, whether they're bigger, smaller, whatever. But it's not about the aesthetics for us. It's about, are you fit and healthy? That's what is really, really important to us. And when we were building our brand, there was a lot of kind of areas where we could have gone in, like, we try and be authentic. We try and not copy what everybody else is doing. A brand kind of reached out to us once, and they're like, "Oh, can you wear this?" Or "You need to wear less clothes," and all this. And we were like, I mean, in some posts we wear our little crop tops and shorts or whatever, and it's like that's what we're going to stick at. Like, we're not going to kind of sell ourselves out to appeal to your market, because this is our market, and it's not really about the money. It's not really about the following. Like, we'd rather have a small following of people that are interested in what we do, and they understand why we're doing it, and they love what we do, rather than have a huge following of people that are just clicking and liking us for us not being ourselves, if that makes sense. So I would just
stay true to your brand, stay true to yourself, be authentic, be honest, don't
consistent. Consistency will a lot of people say to us, oh, like, you're so consistent, we always see you posting, we always see you putting your things up, and it's like, yeah, it's hard work. Like, yesterday I had had a training session, and then afterwards I got one of my training partners to just film a few bits for the athlete method, and it's all about combining it. And some people are like, oh, but you're a professional athlete, why are you messing around doing that stuff? And it's like, actually, I'm a professional athlete right now. I'm 30 years old, so in the next 5 years, I'm not going to be a professional athlete anymore unless I try and do an Alison Felix, which, let's be honest, she is the GOAT. So
I mean, there's only one Alison Felix, right?
exactly. Or Shelley-Ann Fraser-Price, like, they're like
exactly,
up there. So I'm going to be retiring, so I'm working on my future, and I think that's equally as important. And I think a lot of people, they do their sport and they don't actually think about the future, because it is really hard to think about two things at once. But because I'm now, I mean, I've been doing this since I was like, what, 14, 15. I mean, I met you when I was, 2007, so I would have been like,
what, 15, no, I'm kidding.
15, 16. So I've been doing this a long time, so I am starting to think of different things, and I think that's what athletes and people need to think about. You can do more than one thing at a time, and I think having Kerry, who is my business partner, Kerry Dixon, that helps me a lot, because we are accountable for each other. And I guess it's just like having training partners or a coach, like, we're accountable for each other, and when I can't do something, she picks it up, and when she can't do it, I pick it up, and we are a great partnership.
Yeah, no, definitely. We could speak for hours, you know. I could ask you about the menstrual cycle, and I can ask you about, you know, how do you think you're going to let go of the sport, and how are you going to move on to the next phase? But we'll get into that. Have you been following, well, it hasn't started yet, but the Diamond League? Are you going to watch it this weekend?
Yeah, so I'm going to watch. I mean,
I'm going to put you on the spot. Who is your money on? I'm going to be direct here now. It's going to be hot races.
I'm not answering that. I don't know.
Flames out there.
I can't.
Come on, Ashleigh. Come on. It's a hard one.
You know what? I don't know what's gonna happen.
And the 200-meter lineup is equally as hot now as well.
I don't know, because I can't lie. When I was watching the Olympics, I thought Shelley-Ann. My money was on Shelley, because
you thought Shelley-Ann,
because she's Shelley. Even though I'd seen Elaine, and Elaine was moving. She was moving crazy. Like, she looked phenomenal. But I just backed Shelley, so I don't think I'm the right person to be calling the winners, because by experience I've been wrong. But it's going to be very interesting. Indeed, let's just say that it's going to be. If you're like, I feel like it's going to be one of those ones where you'll remember. Like, you're going to remember, like, the race, if that makes sense.
The race after the Olympics, like that race, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, it's the Olympics all over again. That 100-meter final and 200-meter final is going to be crazy. But okay, I'll let you slide. I won't put you on the spot any longer. So we have this game that we play on Back Your Girl, and you have 30 seconds to name. And I mean, you're going to win. You have to win, because you have so much experience within the game. But you have 30 seconds to name as many female track and field athletes within 30 seconds, right?
Oh my gosh.
So listen up. Our record so far is 21 in 30 seconds. That's quite good, actually. Damn, that's good. Okay. You ready?
No. I need to breathe. Okay.
Wait. Let me.
What, from all over the world, or like
all over the world? Like 30 seconds to name as many female track and field athletes that
you name myself.
Of course. What do you mean? Just don't say myself.
Can I say me and you?
Okay, you ready for this? 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and let's go.
Asher Phillip, Ashleigh Nelson, Dina Asher-Smith, Desiree Henry, Daryl Nita, Amani Lansico, Lindsay Sharp, Jasmine Sawyers, Morgan Lake, oh my gosh, Keely Hodgkinson, I think
halfway.
Christina Manning, Sharika Nalvis, Queen Harrison, Kirsty Caslin, Brianna Rowland, Shelley-Ann Fisher-Price, Elaine Thompson, Sharika Jackson.
And time. See, guys, experience matters. Experience counts. Well done. I think that was about 20.
I panicked.
in 30 seconds.
All the
But you kept
hurdler
it
girls
cool.
came to my head because the hurdler girls are always like the glamorous ones. So they were just like coming. I did all the Brits and then I did all the
Popping up.
yeah.
No, that was amazing. Well done. Thank you so much for joining us, Ashleigh. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Thank you to all the viewers as well for watching. I'm going to put you on the spot again. Your last message to encourage women to continue to follow their dreams within any sport. It doesn't matter what sport they're in. And I mean, also guys out there, but the motto for the show is to empower women. So give us your message of encouragement, please.
I guess it would be, don't be disheartened by any setbacks. It's so easy to get disheartened, but if you get knocked down, you need to just get back up again. And I guess a big message of mine is, if plan A doesn't work, then we'll go to plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E, and you just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. Because as women, we have so many road bumps, literally, that will come in the way. We, periods, pregnancy, kind of like the whole gender equality. But at the end of the day, if you are doing something that you love, you just keep on doing it. Let everybody else continue with what they're doing, and you just face forward and just get on with it. Because I feel like sport is not only, it doesn't just teach you how to be a good athlete, it teaches you how to be a great person. And that's one thing that I've learned. Like, having competed at the highest level, I now know that after my track and field is done, I can go into any workplace, and I believe that I'll just smash it because it's taught me so much. So my message would be, when adversity comes your way, you just smack it out of the way and just keep going for whatever it is that you want, especially as a woman, because we are going to get that adversity.
100%. I love it. I love the confidence. I love the message. Thank you so much. Last request, because everybody out here is like, I love her arms, so toned, flex the guns. Flex the guns for those guys, for our viewers and our watchers. She's got amazing arms and amazing body, and the abs.
I feel so awkward.
Thank you, Ashleigh. Appreciate it.
So
I had such a good time chatting to you.
No,
And good luck for the rest of your season, and can't wait to see you soon.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me, and thank you, like you said, for everybody tuning in. And I think what you're doing is amazing, and it's such an important message. So
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you on our next Back Your Girl show next week. Goodbye. Stay safe.
Bye.
Thank you guys for watching Back Your Girl with Alyssa Conley, featuring Ashleigh Nelson. Such an awesome person, such an awesome human, so motivating, so inspirational. Please listen to her message. Ladies out there, you can do it. So get up and do it. I'll see you guys soon on the next episode of Back Your Girl with Alyssa Conley. Goodbye.